guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Renee for those of you that are new here. Today we're going to be talking about the necessity of having to let yourself feel uncomfortable so that you're able to grow as a person and to not shy away from those feelings of being uncomfortable, because that's when you know that things are really going to change for you. And I find this topic really interesting. Also, do you like my little outfit today? It feels very festive, you know. I've been liking leopard print. I heard leopard is the new neutral. What do we think about that? Yeah, but no. This topic for me got inspired yesterday. I was out for dinner with my girlfriend, and we were just saying how sometimes feeling uncomfortable is kind of what motivates you to change your way of doing things, and it motivates you to go forward. And it really made me think, because I do think that the times that I was most uncomfortable is where I kind of found my motivation to want something different, or just even think of doing things differently to get a different result, you know what I mean? So I just think it's really important, and that we shouldn't shy away from putting ourselves in uncomfortable situations. That's kind of what it takes to develop and grow as a person. And a lot of times life will just do that to us. It won't even be our choice. We'll just be put in an uncomfortable situation, and we'll have to find a way to make it work. So basically what I'm saying is that you have to allow yourself to feel uncomfortable, whether it's uncomfortable feelings, an uncomfortable situation, in order to let yourself grow. And it's also really important to remember that the person that you want to be, the person that has already done the thing that you want to do, or has the lifestyle that you want to have, or has accomplished the goal that you want to do, like they're living in a different energy. There's something that they're doing. You want to think about it this way. I know this is kind of a little bit tricky, but if you think about it like this, that person that you're seeing in your mind, they are doing something different. So it's going to take something different. It's going to take some kind of change in your life, and it's going to take adjustment. And adjustment is adjustment for a reason. It's because it's uncomfortable, because things are changing, you know. So I'm going to share a couple of examples of times that I felt uncomfortable, and I'll even do some current ones about what's happening right now. Okay, first of all, these bangs are giving emo, and that, I don't know if that's what I was going for. Anyways, that's not the point. So I'm going to share a couple of examples of times that I felt uncomfortable, and how they kind of pushed me to go forward, and why I don't think that feeling weird and unstable for a period of time isn't the worst thing in the world. And if you're feeling this way now, to just reframe your thinking instead of falling into negative thoughts and demotivation or unmotivation, whatever, the opposite of being motivated. Think of it as something that's going to propel you forward, and use that energy of feeling uncomfortable and wanting different for yourself and wanting better for yourself to help you move forward, right? So these are a couple of examples of times that I felt uncomfortable, but in the end, it was such a positive change for me. So around this time last year, I would say, or around March last year, I went to basically call it a seminar, or a, what's it called, a conference for women entrepreneurs. And I went by myself to Miami, which I really don't travel by myself, so that was something different for me. And I went to this conference. It was over 2 days, and I had to allow myself to feel I'm somebody who it leans more toward the introverted, shy side. And that's something that I'm just working through, because I feel you can't really set these really harsh parameters on who we are as people, and we can always adapt to any situation. Don't underestimate your capability to adapt to any given situation, right? You have that power within you. But for me at this time, that was a little bit challenging, because one, I'm not used to traveling by myself. Two, to just be in a new environment with all different people that I don't really know, and just like, you know, rely on my own like confidence to like, because at the same time I'm going to this event and I'm meeting people, but at the same time I had an intention to grow my business. Like I had like a work intention, I had like things that I wanted to do, and in order to do those things I have to use my voice, you know, like I have to talk, I have to tell people who I am, what I do, and that's just like a big part of like being in like the entrepreneur business space. So that was like, you know, a challenge for me, but it was a welcome challenge because that's those are the traits that I had to develop to have a business, you know what I mean? Which I did attain after going to that conference. So, and it was just also very, very uncomfortable because I almost had like a pressure on me to make things happen like very fast because I was in an uncomfortable living situation. So that kind of like lit a fire under my ass to like get, you know, more, get my business like started and popping and just like, you know, raise my income so that I could move into like a better situation. So it was just overall like a really uncomfortable thing where a lot of things happened at once, and but in the end like I did start a business. I did, you know, get a chance to move to like a better environment, and that's actually where I'm living now. I actually made a video on my channel about my moving vlog, even though I didn't spill the tea really, but I did spill it on my TikTok page. So if you scroll down, you'll be able to find the tea on my like last roommate situation. But okay, that looks better. Boom, period. But yeah, so that was one situation where I felt like pretty uncomfortable, but you know, it worked out, and I had to allow myself to kind of just feel, do, feel and do new things, right? Like be around new people, be in a new environment, like just go about everything a different way. It's almost like you have to take off your old eyes and just put on new eyes and just look at things differently. When you really want to grow, you have to become a different person basically. So you have to let go of like a lot of things that you were used to doing in order to like become a better version of yourself and to make your goals happen. That it's just common sense that it's going to require new skill sets and a new way of being for the most part. Okay, another way that I allowed myself to, and it's actually currently happening, that I'm allowing myself to feel uncomfortable in order to grow. And these are just like everyday examples. Your situation could be different. I'm just sharing my experience, right? Is this whole thing about dry January. So I'm actually doing 75 hard. I'm not doing dry January, but one of the rules of 75 hard is basically like a 75-day challenge. One of the rules is that you don't drink, and it's also like working out every day and, you know, reading and committing to like a regimented diet, regimented meal plan, which is actually for me the hardest part. It's not even the alcohol, it's like sticking to like um, a regimented diet of your choice. So I'm trying to do low carb, low sugar, like, and I actually had this goal, like I've wanted to do this, but I feel like the new year and like, you know, that kind of just sets the perfect framework for like wanting to do all of these new different things, right? And being sober is also part of the challenge, which is something that I've been wanting to do for a while too, just like have a reason to do it, you know? Because sometimes we just don't have like enough of a like drive. But now I'm doing this challenge, so it's like making me do these things. And like yesterday, I had to, so for me it's pretty, okay, so basically this is a challenge for a reason, right? So yesterday I went out for dinner with my girlfriend, and normally like we hop around, like we drink, and you know, we have our fun. But I'm doing this challenge now, so you know, I'm not drinking, and it was just like, it wasn't incredibly difficult or anything, but it was different. It's different to like order a mocktail when someone else is drinking. It's different to like call it a night when you're used to like, you know, staying out and like seeing where the night takes you. So, you know, that in itself is uncomfortable, but for me, you know, even though it's uncomfortable and you know, it can be awkward, for example, to like not drink in like a social setting, especially if you have social anxiety, which I sometimes do, sometimes not all the time. You know, it could just make you feel awkward and like out of place. But for me, I feel like the reward is a lot higher than like feeling those uncomfortable things. And I know that from past experience, once I get past this like initial feelings of discomfort, the benefits that I'm gonna feel, which I believe are gonna be just like more confidence overall because I'm not relying on a drink to give me like that, you know, je ne sais quoi, and like that charm. Like I'm just relying on myself and, you know, being clear-minded all the time. Like sometimes we, you know, we like the feeling of like being a little tipsy, you know, like it gets things like fun, it gets it going. But now I'm just relying on myself. Like I'm not relying on anything external, which is the main point of doing this challenge, is to like get to a place where I feel grounded, where I'm not relying on other things to make me feel better, whether it's in the present moment or if it's like situational or just like, like I'm not avoiding these uncomfortable feelings. And especially when it comes to food, now that I'm doing this challenge, low carb, low sugar, and I'm not gonna lie, like I haven't, like I started this like a week ago, and there have been some days where I didn't exactly, um, go up to the standard that I'm trying to push myself, but I'm not letting that demotivate me because, again, I think the reward is so much higher than, the initial feelings of like being uncomfortable. So, but it's just also really interesting to just see when I'm feeling these urges to like eat these foods, and like now that, I'm just like being so conscious about these decisions that I'm making every day because of this challenge, and it's uncomfortable because I'm realizing at what moments I'm wanting to reach for a drink, at what moments I'm wanting to like DoorDash food, or like, go get ice cream, like, and it makes you just so much more aware, and that's uncomfortable because you're having to face all of these like, hidden motivations within yourself that you were ignoring, or at least that I was ignoring all, this time that I've developed kind of like bad habits, I'm not gonna lie. So that's been a challenge for me, but you know what? It's helping me grow. And I was actually dating someone recently who was completely sober, and I wasn't even doing this challenge at that point. And just because of that, most times I wouldn't drink when we would go on dates. And for me, that was damn uncomfortable. But you know what? Over time, I felt like it really helped me because it helped me show like my real self. Like it helped me feel like I'm not hiding. Like it helped me feel more seen, helped me feel more present. Especially like in an intimate setting, like that means something. So I think that experience helped me grow, even though it wasn't comfortable. Like, before a first date, you're shy. Like, like a drink helps, like liquid courage. But I challenged myself to not do that, and I feel like it really helped me grow. So uncomfortable feelings, they do more good for sometimes, and you have to let yourself feel those things the same way that you have to let yourself feel your feelings and like not repress them. It's the same concept you have to apply to sometimes letting yourself be uncomfortable, because that's what it takes to grow, and to, you know that's what it takes. That's just what it takes to go to the next level, whatever that means for you. So another way that I've been being pushed currently in my present day life, I just like to share my real life examples because, you know this is currently what I'm experiencing, right? Okay, so basically when I moved, I kind of went to like a more expensive place and like a more expensive neighborhood, and the friends that I've made, like even in the conference that I went to over the past year, even like just living here and stuff, they are like in a higher, let's just say it like this, they are in a higher tax bracket than I am, okay? So I'm surrounded by people who are doing very well. I'm surrounded by like very successful people who, they have their own businesses, or they're just like, they make like, a lot of money in their job, or they just came from money. Like I'm just surrounded by people like this, like people who basically money's not an object. And as fun as it can be to like experience new things with them and to like hear about them, and it's inspiring, on that same note, sometimes it's a little bit uncomfortable because I'm not exactly where I want to be yet in my career. Like, I'm 20 something. Like, I'm still working on that. I know that I have a lot of growth in terms of like my career and where I want to be financially. And, it's uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable sometimes having to, you know, be like, oh, okay, I can't go to that, because you don't want to say it, but it's like, I just not in my budget right now, or like, I want to go on that trip, but like I can't really afford to like post myself up in a foreign country right now. Like, I'm worrying about my rent. So, it is uncomfortable, but at the same time, seeing people who get to do these things that obviously would be fun, and being around that all the time, as uncomfortable as it can be, and yeah, at times it makes me feel a little bit insecure, or like I'm not doing enough at the same time. And it's actually the energy that I'm using right now to make this video, because I want to grow my social media, and I want to grow my business, and I want to, like, I want to get there. I want to get to where they are. That's what I'm using to motivate myself, to work, to like create, to like push myself to my potential, because I'm surrounded by people who have realized theirs, whose, their aspirations are like 10 levels beyond what I'm aspiring to. And that's inspirational and also intimidating. And yeah, it causes for uncomfortable feelings sometimes because nobody likes to feel left out or like they are not matching someone else's level, especially when these are becoming like your friends. So, that's been an uncomfortable experience sometimes, but at the same time, I'm letting it help me and it's growing me as a person. So, and then there's this whole thing of like rejection, right? So I know we've all been there at one point or another where we feel rejected, whether it's just perceived rejection or whether you are actually, being more or less rejected. That's uncomfortable. Like, that's uncomfortable. It's kind of like an ego death. Like, nobody wants to feel that way. Nobody wants to feel like they're not good enough. But at the same time, there's a lot of ways that we can grow from experiences like that. We can take the lesson from what that taught us and use it and apply that to like future scenarios, which is basically like more or less something that I've had to do. Um, especially like I guess the most relatable experience of this is like dating. Like if it doesn't work out with someone, we can feel rejected. If that guy doesn't text you or ask you out, you can take that as a sign that maybe, you're not good enough or you're not pretty enough. And honestly, we shouldn't do that as women. Like we shouldn't take other people's we shouldn't make that mean something about ourselves. Like sometimes it just is what it is, but it happens. And you can use rejection as motivation in the future too, because you can become more clear on what you want and what you don't want. Like, do you really want to date somebody and make time for them in your life and give them energy when they're not being completely clear with you that you're the person that they want, that that they want to be with you, that they like you, like when they're not giving you that like sense of like security and stability. Like, do you really want that? No, you probably don't. So that's something that you can take going forward, and rejection is God's protection. But moral of the story, rejection is an uncomfortable feeling that we're gonna have to experience. Like, it's the human experience. Okay, we're not living in a perfect world. We're living in a freaking massively imperfect world. Okay, like this is just the reality, and the sooner that we can grasp that concept, and this is coming from a Pisces. Okay, a Pisces is telling you to come to terms with reality. Okay, that's how you know I'm speaking that real, because I know what it means to live in fantasy. Okay, like been there, done that. Something that I'm working on. But basically, my last point about allowing yourself to feel uncomfortable so that you can grow is that there are times, and I don't think that this should be a constant thing. Like, I don't think you should do this all the time. But, like, just think of a time when you felt, like, very fed up, right? And I feel like sometimes we have to allow ourselves to get to that point of being, like, just so fed up with the situation, with our circumstance, in order to, like, move forward and, like, strive for things that we weren't striving for before. So like, right now I'm kind of fed up with a couple of things. Like, and I'm using that as my reasoning to aspire for better. Not only aspire for better and think about it and daydream about it in my brain and journal about it and like dream about it, but like literally act on these things. So like, it kind of just like lit a new like fire under my butt because I'm fed up. I'm fed up with some things. Like, for me it's showing up in like my fitness, not even my fitness, I would say my nutrition. I think it's more my nutrition because I can work out day and night, but it's more so my nutrition. Like, I'm fed up with feeling like I don't have control and like the capability to make certain decisions for myself when it comes to what I eat and to have that discipline. So that's one of the reasons I did 75 hard, because I want to like retrain my brain to think that way again, and to have that like structure for myself again, because at one point I did. But it took me feeling so fed up and like so overwhelmed with just like all of these freaking foods that I've let back into my life that I feel like sometimes I'm almost like addicted to them, and I'm addicted to like using other things to make me feel better, whether it's food or spending or like male validation and just like dating, and there's just so many other external things that I've been relying on that I'm ready to like let go of. And it took getting fed up and feeling uncomfortable to get there. So the moral of this video is that you have to allow yourself to feel uncomfortable sometimes, and the more that you avoid those uncomfortable feelings and just your feelings in general, the further away you're going to get from your goals and from the person that you really want to be, that you can be. So sometimes you have to like really just let yourself go there, let yourself feel and you know experience these things as unpleasant as they can be. So if you like this video, subscribe, and leave me a like, leave me a comment on your thoughts about a time that maybe you felt uncomfortable. And it's a journey, right? So the most important part is to like not, and I'm talking to myself too, okay? Everything I'm saying is to myself as well. I am not a perfect human being, but sometimes we can't be so harsh on ourselves, and we have to like give ourselves a little bit of compassion and like a little bit of grace, and not be so overly judgmental and like perfectionist about what we're doing, and just fucking keep going. So yeah, happy new year. Can you guys sense the new energy that I'm channeling? You like it? Yeah, subscribe. I'm pretty sure I'm launching something new soon, so just pay attention. Bye.